Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Ambassador Starco Gaming here, back with another Dragon Champion video, guys. Today we're going to take a look at the Zerra, the new characters that's getting released on April 1st. We are on the test server, so we do have access to the character. Obviously, we're going to be taking a look at the build, the kit, the skills, the rune, all of it, guys, and then we're going to jump in some gameplay, tower mode, on hard mode, and some guild raid, definitely, guys. But before that, if you're a new player, so if you are level 15 or below, make sure to use the promo code STARCO. To use the promo code is pretty simple. You go into settings here, you go in the promo code, and you enter the word STARCO, press OK, and you're gonna get $10 worth of freebies, and you're gonna be able to support the channel by doing so too, which is amazing. It is very amazing. Now, with that said, guys, let's jump right away into Zerra here. So Zerra is a clan character. That's a faction. She's orc, tactician, rogue, and leader. Before we get into the kit, guys, she is now the #1 damage dealer for the orc. Makes Mar looks like a little girl pretty much because she is that strong. She is now the best leader for the orc too. You're gonna see when we see her leadership, it is amazing. So now we're gonna go through her skills pretty much, and we're gonna try to go with the skill rotation I do recommend. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. Everybody has their own things, but that's the skill rotation I find the best for me, definitely. So the first skill, we have slicing blow, which is going to be the first skill you're going to use in the rotation when you open the fight to get that damage increase buff right away. But anyway, the skill, if it fully level up, is deal 320% physical damage to an enemy, a 70% chance to gain a damage increase for 2 turns. Why you want this skill first is to get that damage increase, guys, because when you're gonna do your next 2 abilities, you're gonna be doing a lot of damage, which is gonna give you, even more damage out there. Even though that she's already doing pretty good damage, that's just gonna be a massive buff to her damage, to be honest. And yes, this skills at level 6 is quite important because that damage increase buff is 70% chance to be applied if you get it at level 6, and at level 5 will only be 50%. So definitely the skill is important to level 6. Second skills, we have Vortex of Pain. Vortex of Pain is a 3-turn cooldown. It deals 300% physical damage to all enemies, a 60% chance to inflict a healing block for 2 turns, and if the target is bleeding, apply buff immunity for 2 turns. So this is actually a perfect counter for Solius, by the way, guys. If you do apply bleed on all the target, like you bring Snorri or the tiger guy, I can never remember his name, you apply bleed to everybody, and then you use that attack that does AoE damage, and then apply buff immunity to all target. That will give you such a huge advantage. But even if you don't bring a AoE bleed characters, just by using the third skill, which we're gonna take a look in a sec here, you can actually apply the bleed on Solius, then boom, go with buff immunity by using the skills afterwards. So obviously this skill is gonna be the #3 skill on the rotation, as the third skill is going to be really important to make that buff immunity to happen. Now, should you level that skill to level 6? Yes, because that block immunity comes from level 6 skills. So another skills that is very important on Zerra to actually level to level 6. Now the third skill here, we have Crimson Claw, 4-turn cooldown. Attack the enemy 3 times. Each attack deal 230% of physical damage. If attack a shield, apply an armor decrease for 2 turns. If all 3 attacks hit the target, applies bleeding for 2 turns and an ability block for 1 turn. So this is very strong. So basically, if you get the 3 attack that hit Solius, for example, you're gonna get ability block for 1 turn on Solius, then bleed for 2 turns, and then when you get the next turn, you're gonna be able to apply buff immunity on Solius. It's just Solius is pretty much irrelevant when you have Zerra in the team, to be honest, because she is such a strong counter. Now, do you need to level this skills to level 6? If you want the ability block, you need to. Now, if you don't want the ability block, the level 5 is just fine, definitely. Now, if we look at the passive here, domination, increase lifesteal by 25% if Zerra dodged the attack. She recover 20% of her turn meter, which is awesome. And if Renta is on the battlefield, she receives the same buff. So you want to make sure that Renta is in your team to buff Renta too, but it's not that important for Renta. But Renta is actually such a strong character too in the game that definitely in the optimal org team you want to bring Renta with her. Now, do you need to level this thing up? Not really. You only need to level it to level 5 to get the buff here. If you know, Zerra dodge the attack, she recover at least 10% here. The 20% is better from level 6, but the 10% is good enough in my opinion. Then we got the leadership, guys. This leadership is crazy. Enraged blades, the potency and maximum health of all allies orc increased by 20%. Potency, that 20%, this is just amazing. And maximum health too is awesome. When the battle starts, and that's the best part, guys, the rest of this, the leadership is actually the best part of this leadership. That's how crazy this leadership is. When the battle starts, all enemies receive a tenacity decrease and armor decrease for 2 turns. When the battle starts, all enemy receive a damage decrease and buff immunity for 1 turn. By the way, all those debuff that gets applied to the opponent team can actually be resisted if the tenacity of your team is very, very, very high. So optimally, if you build a Solius with very, very high tenacity, you could actually resist all those buff and still be able to take down the team with Zerra. But I've seen some buff not getting applied. Like I faced some Zerra with my, for example, my Trumgar not getting affected by the buff immunity, so he was actually able to use his taunt right on his first turn. But you know, when you get all the 4 debuff apply on all the target on the opponent team, and man, it is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. That is the best leadership in the game in my opinion. It's literally the best goddamn leadership in the game in my personal opinion. And yes, this one needs to be level to level 6. If you use Zerra as lead, you need this, because you're gonna get, when the battle starts, all enemies receive a damage decrease and buff immunity for 1 turn. That is totally worth it. Now for the rune, guys, I went 2 potency runes so we can actually apply those debuff as much as possible to get resisted less. So I went ahead and actually put potency so we can actually have 15 potency increase. Obviously, the primary on the northeast is speed. Speed is very, very important on her, because you want her to go as fast as possible, as early as possible, to apply all those debuff from the 3rd skill and the 2nd skills in my opinion. Then we went for a set of 4 speed so we can get, how much is it? I forget, 10% speed, which is very important. The south, that's south, right? The south primary, I went with critical chance. In my opinion, this is the best. You could go critical damage too, that could be good too. Then the northwest, I went with potency increase. Obviously, you want to get her potency as high as possible. I believe that with her kit, the most important things is potency and speed for her, because you want those debuff to be applied as often as possible, as fast as possible in the turn, and you want those debuff to not get resisted. So Definitely the potency is the most important thing in all of that, definitely, but the speed is very very important too, in my personal opinion. If you disagree, guys, make sure to let me know in the comment section. So this is our build. If we look at the stats with all that, guys, we have here, see the crits is not that important. Yes, the critical chance and critical damage is going to be a nice little boost, but you know, we don't focus on that with her. It will be nice if we had more, but the potential and speed is just so much more important in my opinion. So here we have the speed is 212. Anything above 200 is great in my opinion. Then we have 64.91% potency, and then when you apply the leadership, you're gonna get an extra 20%, so 84.91% potentially, which is very great. And I think that's the part that's really important, is to be able to apply those debuff as much as possible. So now with all that discussed, guys, next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in the tower art mode. We're going to do 1 or 2 clear here. Hopefully we get a clear that we're not getting screwed by RNG. Hopefully. So the first team actually have 115,000 power. It is a well, mainly a panda team, so that's actually gonna be interesting. Hopefully we get the next team, we actually get a Solia, so we can actually show a little bit. Here I was actually bringing Renara, but we're gonna try without Renara. We're gonna bring Renta here. I don't want to have any healers because we already have Ardog that does apply a little bit of heal, and I think that's gonna be good enough in my opinion. So let's jump in that. The team is 120,000, and we're gonna take a look. And yes, I figure I just recall, guys, so my webcam was in the way of the stats earlier, but I named the stats at least, so you actually have the idea of what it is. And here you can see all the debuff apply. Like if we look at the debuff here, minus 30% tenacity, minus 50% physical and magical armor, minus 50% physical and magical damage, and no buff can be applied. So this is just crazy, crazy start to the fight, definitely. Okay, now the target we're gonna start fighting, I have no idea who should we start fighting. I'm kind of guessing either Amber or that, but hey, whatever we get, because the tank can actually apply talents, so we don't actually have to worry about the tank here. But if the Kira gets to apply her annoying, still that kind of screw the fight a little bit. So we're gonna start with Kira here. We're gonna wait for the talent on the second turn here, because Trumgar is gonna be able to use his, and now you're gonna see the effect of that third skill. Well, we said first skill first, so let's start with the first skill instead, then we're gonna see the rest after that. So here we're gonna go with the talent with Trumgar. Here we're gonna go with this. We don't need heals yet, so we're gonna go with the second skill, ability block. We're gonna go with the damage increase here. Now it is time to bring the little pet, and now it is time to pretty much one-shot her with the nugget to do the draw here, because just too much damage. And you can see the damage difference. We were doing a lot more damage with just the third skill of Zerra here, definitely. So next we're gonna try to take one more target out. Oh, we're gonna do the AoE here. You can see really strong damage with the AoE. Now we're gonna take the tank out. We're gonna do a little heal here, and it did not apply to the guy we needed the heal, but still fine. And then we're gonna take Amber out. That's Amber, right? I'm pretty sure it is. And there we go. So very easy. You can see 115,000 power team. Just felt like it was like a 80,000 power team. We just got through that team like nothing. That was ridiculous. That was literally ridiculous. Now the next team, we do have Osolius Zerra. That's gonna be an interesting one, and with the bleed team. So Zeri, which is another ambassador, is actually doing the testing of applying that bleed really early to be able to apply all the buff, immunity, and all that shit at the same time together, which is actually a very good idea, which is what we were talking about earlier. So let's go in and let's see how this is gonna handle. That might actually be a good counter to go against my team here, to be honest, but we're gonna see how it goes. Now here, you have to make a decision. You have to go either for Zerra because she is nasty, or you want to go for Solius. So the decision I'm gonna make here is I'm gonna go for Zerra. I'm gonna try to ignore Solius and hopefully we're going to be able to make it. And we start with all the debuff too, which is quite annoying, to be honest. So we're gonna only taunt we can actually use right now is this one because we have the debuff immunity. See, we cannot use debuff here, and if you cannot use debuff, you cannot use the taunt. So we're gonna go here. Next we're gonna go that, which is actually pretty damn good. We go some Huey, and we're gonna try to finish her as soon as possible. And there we go, ability block. We're doing good. Oh yeah, we're gonna be fine here. We should be fine, but it's very, very, very important to take Zerra out first, in my opinion. We just lost somebody. Who is it? I forgot. Oh, it's Ardog. So I lost my healer, but still gonna finish the fight. I just want to show that for two teams that are pretty much similar in power, we can actually handle it, to be honest, without even healing, which is actually quite crazy. Here we're gonna bring the talent back on this guy. We're gonna kill that, and then we can actually finish the job probably pretty easy here. Talent again. Here we're gonna apply it to this guy, or should we just finish this guy? Let's just finish this guy. There we go. You can see that ability. We are just attacking a tank, and we literally took about 60% HP of the tank with one ability. This damage is ridiculous. It is literally ridiculous, guys. And we're gonna finish that with Rento here. There we go. So you can see the damage is crazy. We can actually look up at the stats here, the damage done. You can see that we only got one strong ability out, 1/3 skill out. We did not really get a second skill with a lot of damage out, and we did 93,000 damage. If we actually had the opportunity to use our AoE from the second skill when the other enemies were all alive, we will have done more damage than all of them here, definitely together. So that was a very, very great fight here, definitely. You can see her power. She is very, 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 very powerful. The debuff she applied at the start of the fight is just crazy, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, that was it for hard mode testing, guys. This video is getting long enough. We still have to show some raid gameplay so you guys can see how she is doing in raid. So you guys enjoyed that gameplay section. I want to hear feedback from you guys, what you think of this character. Personally, I think that her leadership should be nerfed a little bit because I think it's just too strong. It's ridiculous. It's like there's nobody that's going to be able to counter that leadership, in my opinion, which pretty much makes her the new Solius, and I don't want her to be the new Solius. I want her to be well balanced. Yes, I want Zerra to be able to counter Solius, but I also want Zerra to be able to be killed, you know, easy enough, you know, that at least have one counter to actually counter Zerra, actually. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So we're gonna see what the devs are doing about her, but since the update is already out, I don't think it's gonna be able to they're gonna be able to change her leadership right away, but I do think they should tweak it a little bit like they did with Renara leadership. That was a little bit broken. I think that Zerra leadership is a little bit broken too, and a few minor tweaks will actually make this much better. Anyway, guys, you enjoyed the raid gameplay, which we're gonna put on fast speed, so this video doesn't last too long. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. Make sure to enable the bell next to the subscribe button to get notified when we post new Dragon Champion content. And again, enjoy the gameplay section, guys, and I will see you next time.
Yeah.